If you're anything like me, you've encountered that Raika is a deck that you're very interested in, but you haven't really found a good home for it yet. There's Plant Link, Reptile, just the works, but none of it really is something that you've fallen in love with. I encountered the same thing, so I tried my own version of it. I was between a couple of different versions until I finally landed on this, and I'm really happy with how it performed. So let me talk you through it a little bit. There's Evil Seed. If you know Ragnaraika, this card's the best. If you don't, let me run it through real quick. You can special it by pitching a card from your hand if it's a tri-type. If I say tri-type, it's plant, insect, or reptile for the rest of the video. When it's summoned, you can search for 2 Ragnaraika cards, add them to your hand, and then banish 1 card from your hand. Very good 1-card starter, the best as a matter of fact. Then we have Samurai Beetle. You only play 2 in this version of the deck, even though it is an insect. You can special it by putting back a banished tri-type monster from your banish zone to the bottom of your main deck. When it's used as link material, you can target a level 4 or lower tri-type in your graveyard, special it. And then we have the Brick. We're getting a better Brick in info. Nothing you really need to know about this guy. If you hard see it, he's kind of removal, and you can barf him on the board by banishing a tri-type from your graveyard. Then we have the second best 1-card starter. I say it's the second best. It's really not. It's a neg 1, and you have to go for the weird version of the normal summon Evil Seed line. You'd much rather be searching this off of Evil Seed because of its second effect. But let me tell you what it says. All of your tri-types gain 300 attack and defense, and all non-tri-types lose 300 attack and defense. Once per turn, you can use either of the following effects. Either add 1 Ragnaraika monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card, hence the neg 1. Or you can special a Ragnaraika from your hand, graveyard, or banishment. Very strong. This is once per turn, but if your opponent doesn't out it, you just get advantage every single turn after that. Then we have Hunting Dance. Hunting Dance is just the searchable trap card. It is removal. You pop equal to the number of different link types that you control, as long as they're all tri-types. So very rarely you're getting 3, sometimes you're getting 2, you're always getting 1. That's it for the Raika cards. In the main, we're going to move on to the Naturias. The best one, Mole Cricket, is just tag out for anyone from deck, or if your opponent controls the monster with the highest attack, you can tag out for 2. It's just Rescue Rabbit at quick effect speed. When your opponent specials a monster from the extra deck, or when you special a Naturia monster, you can take this card from your graveyard, whip it right back on the board. Great for interaction. A lot of the times you want this card in the graveyard, because if they commit, then boom, now you're just winning the game. Then we have Camellia. Camellia does 3 big things. When it's summoned, you get to Foolish Burial any Naturia card. You can replace the tributing cost of a Naturia once per turn with sending the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Randomly it's Mole Cricket. Randomly gets you access to some of the Ragnaraika stuff. Very strong. And then when a monster is normally special to your opponent's side, you get to non-target reborn a Naturia from your graveyard. Very good. For the 1-ofs, we have Sunflower and Rose Whip. Sunflower is a monster negate. You get to replace the tributing cost with Camellia, so it's actually 2 monster negates. And Rose Whip is just summon limit, but for spell and traps. If your opponent can't out this under 1 activation of a spell trap, then they just lose. You know, Nat Beast is infinite negates, but you don't have to negate anything if you're under Rose Whip. It just says your opponent can only activate 1 spell or trap per turn. It does remember, so say they Cosmic your back row, and then you New Chain Mole Cricket go into Rose Whip, they can't Triple Tactics Talent you. Then we have the spells. 3 Blessing. Blessing is a reborn or a quick sync. It is a quick play spell. There's been times where I've needed to synchro with it to dodge like Imperm on Sunflower, like Sunflower effect negate, Chain Imperm, Chain Blessing, make Camellia and Sunflower into like a 6. It's pretty good for that. Usually you're just using it to reborn though. Then we have Sacred Tree. Sacred Tree has 2 really important lines of text. If you hard see it, you get to use the second one. It tags out a plant of either insect or an earth of either plant or insect for the opposite from the deck. But when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to search for any Naturia card. That means Blessing, that means Sunflower, everything. And then 1 for 1, it just bridges the 2 engine. I like it a lot. There's no reason not to play it. Alright, and let's go on to the non-engine. The reason I like this deck a lot, and this version specifically, is because it gets to play a lot of non-engine. First off, for the hand trap lineup, it's a little bit targeted. My Locals has a lot of 10 pie, and I just think it's a deck that's going to see a lot of play this format, so I'm playing 12 hand traps for that deck pretty much specifically. Ogre, Diddy Crow, Mourner, Ash Blossom. If you find your locals has a different flavor of thing going on, you can adjust your hand traps accordingly. I think the only thing that I would introduce is maybe Nibiru, just because it's so high impact to this format, but Tenpai doesn't really lose to it, so I'm a little hesitant. Then for the last 5 cards in the main deck, we have 2 Triple Tactics Talent and 3 Pot of Prosperity. Just helps with consistency, helps break boards, and if you get interacted with, you get to combo off a little bit harder or look at their hand and interrupt. There are times where you'll just have, 1 card starter, plus tactics, plus 3 hand traps, and man, you hit the good card out of their hand with that, and just have those last couple hand traps, you're golden. On to the extra. There's a lot of theory put into this extra, but it still has a lot of wiggle room, I think. First off, Dryas. This isn't part of any plant link combos. You didn't see any level 1 normal monsters, so it really is just to put a level 4 or lower plant monster from your field into your graveyard. Very important for combos. Then we have Anima. You lock yourself pretty early, but just having level 1s on the board that get interacted with, this helps break boards. 2 Skeletal Soldier, the best link 2 in the deck. When it is summoned, it isn't doing anything. But if you remember, a Samurai Beetle, when it's sent to the graveyard for a link summon, can reborn basically anything. Any level 4 or lower tri-type. So you have this and Evil Seed, you make Skeletal Soldier, and you just get access to anything from the graveyard and a link 4, because at Ignition Effect, you can target a Ragnaraica monster in your graveyard and special it in defense position. So, boom, you just take 2 monsters, turn them into 4, essentially. Then we have Jasmine, part of the 1-card combo. I think the 1-card combo is the most developed, and I want to show it off today. The 2-card combo, I feel like I want to put this out there just because there is room to improve it, and I know that there are people smarter than me that can help with that. We have Little Knight. I think this card is super optional. You can keep this deck under $100 if you just skip on this card. I banish it off Prosperity a lot, but it's a good option to have. Haggard Lizardos. It's a card that I think will see a lot of experimentation in different builds of the deck. I'm on very, very few reptiles, so I'm not immediately into it. It's a TCG exclusive. If you've never read it, you get to banish a monster from your field or grave with 2k or less, target another card on the field, and decrease the monster's attack to whatever you banished. And then if you banished a reptile, you get to draw a card. So theoretically, you could put this thing on the board, banish it, target a card your opponent controls, make it go to 800, and then draw a card. In reality, you'd rather just go for something like Skeletal Soldier. We have Mantis Monk. Mantis Monk can banish 2 tri-types from your graveyard to search for a trap card. The trap card was the Pop Hunting Dance. That's the only one we have now, but I'd like to see some more later. We have Banglahancer. Banglahancer is, you just take 2 plants, turn them into this guy. He's really, really good for interruption. Part of the 1-card combo that just ends on so much more. Chain Coils. This card is the most cuttable. I really only kept it for the grind game. It's another card that sees a lot of Prosperity banishes. But if you need it, it's kind of a way to play through hand traps. If your opponent activates anything during the turn that this thing's face up, you can new chain, activate the effect, and lock them out of hand effects for the turn. Hand monster effects. Then we have the big bad, Stag Sovereign. I'm playing 2. There's, like I said, a lot of wiggle room. I don't think you need to with this card. When a monster is specialed from the deck or extra deck, you could pop 2 monsters on the field non-targeting. If you activate this, you do have to pop 2. If your opponent only controls 1 and you decide to proc this, well, you gotta pop something on your side, so be careful when you're activating this. Nat Beast and Barkion are both not tri-types, but if you're starting with a Naturia heavy beginning, going into these things early, broken. And then finally, part of the Tenpai plan, Fucho. It's not hard to put 2 level 1s on the board under the lock, or before the lock rather, if you know that you're going against Tenpai and this guarantees a turn 3 out of you. I like it a lot. It didn't come up lately, but like I said, there's a lot of Tenpai, and having a plan is super important in this format. Alright, and on to the combos. So the first one we're going to show is the 1 card. This is a 1.5 if you opened the Bloom, because you need to have a discard if you open Bloom. If you opened Evil Seed, you can just do Evil Seed. Let's pretend you just opened Evil Seed. Normal Evil Seed, on summon, search for 2. you're going to want to search for these two. You could theoretically search for the spell, but since we want to guarantee that you know what it looks like for both versions of the combo, let's just say that you don't want to grab the spell. You're going to search for 2 and then banish 1. Samurai Beetle to put this card to the bottom of your deck, and then special itself. You can use these 2 to link off into Skeletal Soldier. On summon, Beetle effect, target Seed. Soldier effect, target Beetle. It's very important that you keep Beetle in one of the columns that is being pointed to by Skeletal Soldier, because you want it to be 2 plants into Jasmine. Jasmine effect to tribute a monster it's pointing to special a plant from the deck. You're going to do that, and special a copy of Camellia. Camellia is going to send a Naturia card from your deck to your graveyard. You're going to go Sacred Tree, and then you're going to go Blessing, because this will add Blessing. You'll turn Camellia into Dryas, and then you use the graveyard effect of Skeletal Soldier to reborn it by returning the Dryas to the deck. If you've gathered, this is 2 plants. You can turn those into Banglahancer. And now, off of normal summon Evil Seed, you have Banglahancer plus Blessing on your opponent's turn. Blessing will special Camellia. Camellia will send Mole Cricket, and then suddenly, the second that they start playing, you have the option to tag out for double Monster Negate plus the lock plus a bounce off of just 1 normal summon. That's 4 cards left in hand, which is crazy. That's just the 1 card. I think this one's pretty well developed. It does have room to improve, I think, just a tad, but this was where I was able to get it just in testing the deck for a few days. The 2-card combo, I can guarantee, could be better. The 2-card combo is either way to Evil Seed and any way to Camellia. So could be these, could be these. It could even be 1 for 1. But any combination of this or this will play under Nibiru and get you Naturia access for your opponent's turn. So let's just say we have the optimal. We're going to start with normal Mole Cricket. Mole Cricket effect Tribute. We're going to special Camellia. Camellia this time is not going to search, help search for the Blessing. You are going to send the trap card and search for Sunflower. If you remember, you could special Evil Seed by just sending a tri-type from your hand to the grave. You're going to go Evil Seed effect, and then do the same thing as before. Add 1 and the other, and then banish. You're going to special summon. This is summon number 4 by putting this back, and then you're going to turn these into Skeletal Soldier. This is summon number 5. If you started with Camellia, this would only be summon number 4. Because you started with Mole Cricket, it's a little bit better just because you have Mole Cricket access. But you can go Samurai Beetle, target the Sunflower as summon number 5. They go, okay, well, I have to nib you here because if I don't, then Sunflower's online, and I'm just never going to do it anyway. If they don't, boom, now you're under Nibiru protection. You can go Skeletal Soldier effect to special Samurai Beetle, and then turn these 2 into Mantis Monk. This is the part that I really feel like the deck could most improve with. You go Mantis Monk effect, banish 2 to search for the trap card. And this is a lot of interaction, but for 2 cards, it does feel a little weak. So I want to put this out there and see if there's anybody smarter than me that can maybe help put this part together, because this is good. A pop plus Mole Cricket plus Camellia plus double Monster Negate is nothing to scoff at, but for 2 cards, it feels like it could be better, you know? So if anybody ends up landing on anything different or experiments with the deck at their locals and finds success, please let me know in the comments, because I enjoy this version and I want it to do better. That's all for today, though. If I end up making any more crazy discoveries with the deck, I'll be sure to make another video, because this is a deck that I want to experiment for a while. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.